Now for the World Brief, John Cookson joins us now from London. Good morning, John.
Yes, good morning from Westminster. Good to see you. Well, I begin this segment by telling you that Julian Assange, the WikiLeaks founder, WikiLeaks boss, is on his way home now to Australia. He's in the air at this hour, having been freed by a court in Saipan, the Pacific island of Saipan, having pled guilty to one espionage charge under a plea deal with the US Department of Justice. And the judge, Judge Manglona, wished him a nice life and told him to enjoy his birthday. Next week he's 53, and just to go away and enjoy the rest of his life. It's a closing chapter in an extraordinary story, and as I say, he's in the air at the moment, expected to land in Canberra, Australia in about 2 hours from now. The plea deal, we don't know exactly what sort of deal has been done with the Department of Justice in America, and this of course follows Assange leaking hundreds of thousands of top secret documents relating to the Iraq War and the Afghanistan War, and causing huge embarrassment to successive American governments. He was back in 2010 doing this, and then sought refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy in London when the US authorities sought his extradition, and he was eventually arrested by British police and just spent 5 years in Belmarsh top security prison here in London. The judge made a point of today saying that he'd already spent 5 years in jail, so that was time served, and that was the reason why he was freed today to walk completely free from the court. You might be wondering what happened to Chelsea Manning, his so-called accomplice in all of this, a transgender intelligence officer with the US government. She was given 35 years, but that was commuted to 7 years by President Obama, and she was freed in 2020. This is an extraordinary story. I don't think we've heard the end of this by any means. Julian Assange, of course, a journalist. I'm guessing that he's going to be writing a book about his life story, but the closing chapter underway, and is expected to get a tumultuous welcome from supporters when he lands in Canberra about 2 hours from now. Well, across the Atlantic in Washington, they're all abuzz there because Donald Trump is expected to announce his pick for vice president possibly today or tomorrow, ahead of the head-to-head debate with President Biden on TV, which is at 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday for us here in the UK and Nigeria. The front runners are North Dakota Governor Doug Durham, not too well known on the world stage, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, who is better known, but I suspect the actual front runner is Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Rubio, of course, and indeed the others potential picks have traded insults over the years. Rubio famously calling Trump a con man who'd hijacked the Republican Party. Trump always talked about little Marco and using his pinky finger to denote something else when talking about Marco Rubio, and he also called Marco Rubio big ears in the past. So that seems to be all put aside now. They're all chummy together, and we'll wait to hear who the vice president pick is in possibly the next 48 hours or so. Now, the vice president's normally announced at the Republican convention, which this year is in Milwaukee on July the 15th, but it looks like very much the Republicans are going to bring that forward by a huge amount. Meanwhile, here in the plodding election, the UK general election due on July the 4th here in the UK, just when you thought it couldn't get worse for Rishi Sunak's Conservatives, it does. There's mired deeply in this so-called betting scandal where Sunak was expected to announce a general election in September, October this year, or even January next, and then he shocked the world by saying that he was going to have it in July. Now, those close to him must have known about the July date, and it's alleged that they placed bets and won large amounts of money. Well, that's been investigated by the Gambling Commission. The latest Conservative to be investigated is a man called Russell George, not terribly well known in this country, but he is a Conservative and being investigated as to how he got the information, or did he get any information before placing a bet. Already two Conservative candidates in the election, Laura Saunders and Craig Williams, have been suspended from the party. They can still stand in the general election on July the 4th, but they'll have to stand as independents. And we heard last night that already one policeman has been investigated, one of Rishi Sunak's close bodyguard protection unit. Well, we now understand that 5 more policemen are being investigated over this alleged betting scandal. So we'll have to see where that takes its course. Labour aren't immune from all this, because there's news today that someone called Kevin Craig said that he was going to bet that he would lose the election. You know, there was a poll recently which showed that 80% of British people don't trust politicians, and you can understand why. Back to you, Lagos.
Thank you so much for this insight. I want you to talk me through the debate yesterday in France, because Monsieur Attal and Monsieur Badel didn't land any punches yesterday. Both of them were very ridiculous, you know. No clear idea on the policies forward, no clear idea on where France was going. So the left is as worse as the right itself. And I think France is in a limbo. Can you talk me through that and the results of the debate yesterday? Can you also make like an overview of what we should expect in the American debates on Thursday with Trump and Biden?
Okay, I'm getting a distorted input into my ear from Lagos at the moment, but I understand you're talking about the French elections and the dangers of left and right and what it means for France. The dangers are huge, and the outcome of the legislative... okay, the debate yesterday. Okay, I'm starting to hear you properly now. President Macron has already said that there's great danger to the French people and to the country if people vote for the extreme left or the extreme right, and both parties at the moment both factions are doing rather well in opinion polls, and it looks very much as if Marine Le Pen's RN party could well have a majority when polls close for the second time on July the 7th. As far as the debate was concerned, we know that the left has pledged that it will try to push through some populist procedures, for example, reducing the compulsory pension age, which was 60, went up to 64, went back down to 60. And that's as far as I know about the debate last night, to be absolutely frank with you.
All right, John, thank you. So let's talk about the UK now and this gambling gate, if I put it that way. Now, Laura Saunders and Craig Williams have been suspended from the Conservative Party, with the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak saying that they are pulling away their support from both of them, and then even more members of the party are under investigation, even though he has said himself that he isn't under investigation. Do you think that his stepping forward now to do what the Labour Party has called for him to do, and the opposition has called for him to do, in terms of there being punitive measures, or a suspension at least, of members who are found culpable whilst investigations are going on, do you think he would appease, people who are very upset as to the outcome of this gambling gate?
No, it's too late. Look, Rishi Sunak and senior Conservatives knew all about this for some time, and Labour say that Sunak has been slow to act. Sunak, for his part, says there has to be a proper investigation, which to a degree is right. But in the court of public opinion, and that's what matters in these crucial days before a general election, you have to be cleaner than clean. And the Conservatives already had a reputation for sleaze and dodgy dealings going back to Boris Johnson's time and the COVID crisis. So it just feeds into the narrative that these people are frankly filling their boots based on inside knowledge that they might have had by being close to number 10. So to answer your question, I think it's just too late for any of that. I think the British public have made their minds up already. Opinion polls put Labour at least 20% ahead at the moment, with Nigel Farage doing increasingly well in some polls, doing as well as, if not better than the Conservatives, picking up 20% of the vote, according to opinion polls. But look, Rishi Sunak's government and Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister is finished. He'll resign on July the 5th and seek a life somewhere else, having been in office less than 2 years.
Well, shame for the Conservative Party. It's 1 week minus 1 day plus 1 day to the general elections in the United Kingdom, which is happening next week on the 4th of July 2024. Thank you very much, John Cookson, for your time. We'll see you again tomorrow.